Fantastic Four First Steps is a fantastic introduction to Marvel's first family, the next Avengers films, and the sixth stage of the MCU. Combining the classic elements of Marvel films with a fresh, retro, and cartoonish feel, with 2025 being the year of superhero movies, including releases such as Captain America Brave New World, Thunderbolts, Superman, and finally Fantastic Four, it feels like we can finally say superhero movies are becoming great again. I promise we'll try not to say fantastic too much throughout the review, but, come on, how can't we? A little warning too, there will be some spoilers scattered throughout. Anyway, without further ado, welcome to our review of Fantastic Four First Steps. The biggest thing we absolutely loved about Fantastic Four was the feel of the movie. The biggest fear I had when watching is that it wasn't going to keep to those classic Marvel features such as space travel and sci-fi elements. I was also afraid that the movie would get into the MCU's most recent not so great features such as low quality, high volume releases, inconsistent budgets, and an incredibly confusing multiverse, to name a few. Well, I'm glad to report that Fantastic Four gets only the best features of the MCU and none of the worst. At the same time, however, it brings a fresh, colourful, and retro feel to the table, and at times it feels to be straight out of the 60s television commercials. The combined forces of Marvel and this comical feel create a film to be reckoned with. It's original, but it's also familiar. Fantastic Four hits the spot. It's fantastic. Well, it certainly isn't too childish. It doesn't take itself too seriously either, with plenty of comedic moments. However, it isn't afraid to keep you on the edge of your seat, with some suspenseful and action-packed fight scenes. Another thing we loved regarding the story was the greater focus on family, which definitely works well with the Fantastic Four, and what they stand for. Spoiler warning, the narrative centers around the group as they attempt to defend Earth 828 from the movie's main villain, Galactus, who, if you didn't know, is basically a giant planet-eating entity that is plagued with eternal hunger. With Earth 828 in his sights, the Fantastic Four venture out to negotiate, and Galactus decides to spare Earth in exchange for Reed and Sue's baby, who would essentially absorb his hunger and allow him to rest. With the couple not willing to make the sacrifice, they return to 828 and plan a fight against Galactus. We loved the way that he felt like a classic comic villain and is honestly quite terrifying. There aren't many movies out there where the bad guy just wants to eat planets for a light snack. His design is also amazing too, paying strong homage to the comics. Quick note too, don't worry about his size. As it turns out, he has the ability to change, hence why he can eat planets in one shot and can fit into New York in the second. We also love the design of the Fantastic Four themselves, especially that of the Thing or Ben Grimm. Compared to the 2005 movie and even the 2015 movie, the design of Ben in the First Steps is simply fantastic. I'm really sorry, I just couldn't help myself. Ben just seems so much more human, while still being a big rock. He has emotion that you can see, making him easier to connect and empathize with. On top of this, the costume designs of all the members of the Fantastic Four are great. They again look straight out of the comics and look perfectly retro, while also being somewhat simple. We loved how there are plenty of side characters in the film, one particular comical example being Mole Man, who, while he isn't overly prevalent, is a fun little addition to the narrative. The actors of all the characters in the movie are simply amazing and they play their parts incredibly well. Every single character and actor fit perfectly into the narrative and film, creating a truly immersive experience. Adding to this, the set designs in Fantastic Four are incredibly detailed, and the best way to describe them and Earth 828 itself would be a mix between futuristic 60s and modern day aesthetics. It's almost like the Fallout universe if it wasn't suffering from, nuclear fallout. The CGI in the movie is perfectly executed with no obvious letdowns or rush scenes. To be completely honest, I couldn't even distinguish between real sets and CGI sets, meaning they must have done a pretty damn good job. The second the film starts, you're already immersed in feeling as if you're there with the Fantastic Four. It does such a fantastic job of making the world feel alive, and while I can't put my finger on why, I think a large part of it is, spoiler warning, because the movie starts with the news, immediately making it feel like you're sitting in your own home on Earth 828 watching a feature story on superheroes that keep you safe. Now would be a good time to talk about this part of the movie, because during the news scene, the whole backstory of the Fantastic Four is explained. This is good for two reasons. Firstly, this means that anyone can go to the cinemas, even if they had no idea who they are watching, and still get the most out of the movie. While it is a brief overview about their backstory, it contains plenty of detail and is guaranteed anyone can enjoy Fantastic Four First Steps. And secondly, it means we don't have to see a whole new movie about their origin story a third time. Thank you, Matt Shackman. The only problem we could find hidden with the first steps was a little bit of an inconsistent pacing. This occurs commonly throughout the film, and certainly it has the potential to throw some audience off. Final note too, Fantastic Four First Steps is probably the closest thing we'll be getting to a live-action Incredibles movie for a while. While it's not an issue per se, a couple of people I've conversed with have linked the film with The Incredibles, especially due to its greater focus on family. As it happens, the same composer that worked on The Incredibles worked on Fantastic Four First Steps too, Michael Giacchino. And personally, I think Fantastic Four and The Incredibles are two films that could work together like a dream. Who knows, with Marvel under Disney now, maybe we'll get The Incredibles and The Avengers one day. I would not be complaining. In conclusion, Fantastic Four First Steps is a fantastic film that combines the best of Marvel with a new, colourful and comical feel. We love the fact that the film had a fantastic focus on family while never skimping over action-packed sequences. All the character designs in the film are fantastic and pair perfectly with the vibrant and detailed world that is Earth 828. With the only letdown being some inconsistent pacing, Fantastic Four First Steps deserves a solid 9 out of 10. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave and like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.